Hello, hello. Welcome to the Mindset with Mary podcast. Today's episode is a piggyback on the last episode, shortly after talking about holding space for things that we don't want. I had a coaching call, and in this coaching call, I had an epiphany that I am constantly trying to fill the gaps of people's emotional needs to control the outcome, which is something I feel like so many women do just because, especially if you're married or you have a significant other, and not to use the word man-child and make it sound like it's downgrading or anything, but sometimes our men are not, just in the society that we live in, they're not capable of being aware of their emotions, but we are aware of their emotions more than they are. And so then we try to fill their emotional gaps because we can see them, and we're trying to control the situation, control the outcome. I think this is fairly normal. So talking about socks and underwear and my husband keeping socks and underwear that he doesn't like, and then going back to the conversation we had about holding space for things that you don't want. I also in that episode talked about how I used to buy him socks and underwear, and I could never figure out the right ones to get him. And they were always the wrong ones, and yet he would never go buy himself. He would never go buy himself the right ones. So then I would throw away the ones that he didn't want, and would also, and this is still kind of a thing that is happening here and there, but more than anything, and when I say still happening here and there, I mean in other areas of our life that I'm unaware of currently and becoming more and more aware of. Okay, so the sock and underwear drawer. I am buying things for him in this is a metaphor, by the way, so just pay attention because it's going to make sense. Hopefully I am very clear and can really wrap this into a pretty present with a bow on top, so it makes sense. So I'm getting these things for him. They're not what he wants. And so through time, I've kind of pulled the ones that he doesn't like out, thrown them away, and then there's just empty space. And I'm like, are you going to ever go and buy yourself underwear? And he's like, no. And then he's like, hey, I'm folding laundry and there's holes in his underwear that he likes. And so I have to throw those away. And I'm like, babe, you're running out of underwear. You're running out of underwear. And I feel the need, right, to fix and solve that problem. So I go and do it for him. But how disempowering is that when you think of it? Because every single time I don't get the ones that he wants, and I'm not giving him credit or capability of doing it on his own. And so I fill his space with things he doesn't want, and yet he doesn't want to probably hurt my feelings. That's one of the things that my husband, he's so funny because he'll try not to hurt my feelings, and in the process of trying not to hurt my feelings, he does. These are all the things that we're working on as a couple, by the way. So anyways, the moral of the story is that so often I think we are trying to feel or carry other people's emotional and mental loads. And this is the way my coach says it. By the way, her name is Amanda Clark. I'll link her stuff down here because she talks a lot about her and her husband and their growth together, especially in her recent masterclass that she did. And it's just seriously so beautiful the way she talks about it and how she allows herself to grow even though he's not currently growing on the same pace. But anyways, that's besides the point. Mary Jo, get back to the moral of the story. The moral of the story is we often are putting so much weight onto our plate to carry other people's emotional needs, and they don't even want it. And then we're creating exactly what we're trying, right? So in this circumstance, it's I'm trying to fill the this need, right? So the need is to feel validated by my husband that I'm doing a good enough job by making sure that he has enough clothes in his drawer. And so I go and do that because that's my need. And then I put the underwear in the drawer and it's not what he wants. And so what happens is that he holds on to that because he doesn't want to hurt my feelings. And then he's holding space for things that he doesn't want. And I keep, as time goes by, it empties, and then I fill it in. And I disempower him by not ever letting him go and fill his space for himself. And I want you, this is a metaphor, but I want you to think of it in terms of managing other people's emotions. How often are you trying to manage other people's emotions and trying to fill their space with what you think they need, and it's absolutely not what they need. In fact, the only thing that they need is to take responsibility and do it themselves. See how that kind of all ties together? So while the last episode we really talked about, holding space for things that we don't want, but also let's think about how many times we put the things that we think other people want into their space and they don't want it. And we wasted our energy and time on that rather than trying to do what we want, right? Rather than creating the business that we want, rather than putting our energy and focus on the love and the relationships we want to build, rather than putting our focus on the house we want to buy, rather than putting our energy and focus on our kids and the quality time that we want with them. Or maybe you're just wanting to grow your authenticity and feel more yourself, but you're wasting your energy on other people's emotions and not coming back to your true essence. So I just want you to think about that. And a really good journaling prompt is, am I trying to help other people take care of their emotional issues? And how much energy am I wasting doing that? Do they even want it? Is it even supporting them in the way that they need? And have I fallen under the impression that I am the one who has to take care of other people's emotional needs? And do I need to let that go? I said one journal prompt, that was like 100. Rewind that, pause it, take it one step at a time. Or just pause it right here and think about it for a minute. And then move forward from there. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If today's episode helped in any way, shape, or form, make sure you share it with a friend, rate, review the podcast, and subscribe so you can tune back in next time. Mwah. Love you. Bye.